Well, good afternoon. If it's Monday, 3 o'clock Eastern, it's Mondays with Michael Live here on Facebook. Thanks for joining if you're joining today. And for those of you watching this post-session, thanks for watching post-session. Today's session, as we continue our discussion of the four DiSC styles, D, I, S, and C. Last week we did I, so this week we do S. So before we get into our discussion around S, we want to do a little commercial message. So on November 8th at 3 o'clock Eastern, we'll be doing a deeper overview of the 5 behaviors of a cohesive team program. For those who came to our session here in Tyson's a few weeks ago, thanks for coming. We are doing an online webinar. So if you're interested, message me directly here on Facebook or on LinkedIn. If you're seeing this on LinkedIn, I'll send you a link to register. Also put one here in the chat. Here in a few minutes. So today's discussion is all around S, the S style on the DiSC model. So like we've done the last few weeks, I'm going to give you kind of an overview of the S style, kind of general information around the S style. And then we're going to take a look at the S style from different perspectives at work. We'll talk about the S style as a teammate. We'll talk about the S style as an employee that reports to you if you're the boss. We'll talk about the S style if the S style is your boss, somebody you report to. We'll talk about the S style if they are a prospect or a customer you're servicing. And then I'm going to give you some general tips for the S style as we move forward. As always, I'm going to be looking down at my notes as I go through this. So let's get started. So there's some general overview of the DiSC style. So the S style in the DiSC model means steadiness. Steadiness. And it's also the color blue. I like that it's color blue because it's that calming effect. That's what the S does for the team. So S's tend to be calm, cool, collected in the workplace. They tend not to like ripples in the waves. At work, they like to plan. They need to plan. They would like the team members to stay on the plan and to work the plan. They like having a plan of action, step-by-step process. They tend not to like change just for change's sake. If you're going to make a change in the plan or the work of the team, they would like to know a little bit up front. They would like to get a heads up. They like to see what's coming around the corner before it comes on them. So make sure you try to get them a heads up if change is coming around the corner. Of the 4 styles, they tend to be the best listeners of the 4 styles. A lot of my clients in HR tend to be high S's. They feel they're listening to the organization. They tend to put the needs of others before the needs of themselves, sometimes to a fault. When I teach the class, I call the S's the den moms. They make sure everybody's feeling okay about what's going on the team. So that's just some general overview around the S style. So let's get a little deeper. So if you have an S who's a teammate, these are some things that you should know, so think about. So S's is a teammate. S's like to roll up their sleeves and do whatever it takes to get the job done. They're very, very team focused. And they're very supportive of the team. If the team needs me to do this, I'll do this. If the team needs me to do that, I'll do that. They're not very focused specifically on what their job function is. They want to make sure that the team gets the work done. So they're not really individualized on their goals when it comes to teamwork. They want to make sure the team reaches its goal. And for me, sacrificing my goals a little bit, that's okay, because the team's going to reach their goals. They will listen to other team members' concerns. They have this kind of open door thing. And they do like to coach and mentor other team members. So they'll kind of be everybody's, den mom, team mom, or big brother, big sister. I mean, they like playing that role within the team. Now, if you have an S who's an employee that reports directly to you, remember, being calm, cool, and collected, the employee would like to know about changes and the progress of planning as soon as possible, especially if those plans change. They may want to know the reason why the change is coming so they can adapt and kind of get their mind around that new change so they can move forward. Try not to be overly abrupt or overly quick with someone who is high S. They need to process that information, and it may take them some time to process that information. They're not going to change on a dime, so don't expect them to change on a dime. They like working with others. They like working in teams, so try to keep them in that team environment. And they will offer help to others if needed, as we talked about earlier. They like being the coach, mentor, big brother, big sister, team mom. So remember, you can put them in that role, and they will enjoy being in that role. So if you have an S as a boss, so if the boss, you boss is an S, bosses that are S are very people and process focused. They are very approachable. High S's are very approachable as bosses and will listen to you about anything, anytime, whether it's inside the workplace or outside the workplaces. S bosses don't move that fast and will not change on a dime without consulting others on the team or their boss. Unlike the I or D boss that will flip a switch on a dime, high S bosses need some time to process if you're giving them a new idea and if you're changing the process. So keep that in mind if your boss is an S. They will make sure there is harmony on the team, and they'll make sure they lead the team as a group together, working together. An S boss will also roll up their sleeves and do anything needed to make the team successful. They're not pigeonholed by their title. If they need to sweep the floor, high S's will sweep the floor as a boss, and that's okay. If you have a customer who's high S, or you're prospecting and your prospect is high S, being an S as a customer, their needs are process focused, and they tend not to make a spot decision. If you're prospecting and your client or prospect is an S, they're not going to decide on the first presentation. They're not going to be a one-call close for numerous reasons. One, they need to have all the information. Two, they like to absorb. We talked about earlier, they like to absorb all that information and process it internally. Three, they're going to have to ask others around them, whether it's coworkers, bosses, other folks in the organization, about how they feel about possibly making this purchase. So you're going to have to give them some time to process the data. So if you're a D or I and you're trying to get a quick sale from someone who's S, it's not going to happen. Slow down, stick to the process, make sure they get input from others around them, and schedule a second and even maybe a third meeting with someone who's high S just to make sure they're comfortable making that buying decision. Okay, if you are S and you're listening in, I see some folks are listening in, so thanks for you guys for chiming in. If you're S and you're listening in, some things for you to think about. Change is not always bad. I know S's sometimes, my friends I coach who are high S think that change is bad. Change actually is not bad, and some change is necessary. So you have to learn how to adapt to change, okay? And it may be a change that you're not real comfortable with, but if it betters the team or the organization, you're going to have to learn how to get comfortable with change. So change is not always bad. One thing I say to S's quite regularly is to be sure to take care of yourself as you take care of others. As I mentioned earlier, S's tend to put the needs of others before the needs of themselves, and at times forget about their own needs. So make sure you're taking care of yourself at work or outside of work before you're taking care of everybody else. As an S, sometimes you're going to need to speed up a little bit, whether it's the decision process or workflow process, when the team or organizations need it. Now, you don't need to work 300 miles an hour all the time, like some of your colleagues based on DiSC will, but there are going to be times you're going to have to speed up your decision process or the way you work to meet the needs of the team, the needs of the customer, the needs of your boss, depending on their style. So once in a while, you're going to have to speed up a little bit. Coaching and mentoring others is your strength. You like doing that. You like playing that big brother, big sister role, that coach-mentor role. But keep in mind, you can't be a coach, mentor, or team mom for everyone in the organization. You can't coach everybody. You can't mentor everybody. It just won't work. You won't have the time to get your own stuff done. It's good that you like doing it. You just can't do it for everyone. And my last tip for you is be able to make a quick decision when a quick decision is needed. And that may take some practice for some of you high S are listening today, but sometimes you're going to have to make a quick decision. It's going to be out of your comfort zone, but you're going to have to make that quick decision once in a while. So those are my tips for you for S. General overview, if you're a teammate, employee that reports to you, a boss, a customer, and some general tips for you as a high S. Next week, we will do our final in the 4-part series on high C, conscientiousness. We'll talk about the high C style. We'll wrap up our 4 weeks of doing DiSC. Again, I'll put a link in here shortly about our webinar coming up in November on the 5 behaviors of a cohesive team. Thanks for hanging out today. I see some of you still in the room, so thank you for hanging out in the room today. This is Mondays with Michael Live here on Facebook, and enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.